Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Blush mess in front of you on screen. I was tagged the other day to do the blush tag by @FrenchCarol, and you should definitely take a look at her Instagram account if you like high-end makeup, because she posts very regularly, I think, beautiful photographs of very often her face of the day products. And I especially like the fact that she doesn't just show new products, she shows how she integrates her past purchases into her current look. So it's a really nice account. Anyway, she took part in a blush tag, and I will show my photograph of my answers where I have them, but I actually thought it, for me, would make quite a good YouTube video because I like to talk, basically, and to explain, and there isn't really room to do that on Instagram. So here we go. I haven't strict answers to some of the categories, so I'll explain what the tag categories were and why I've said what I've said. The first category was best packaging, and I think I took that as kind of overall packaging for a range consistently, and so I think my answer to that would definitely be Chanel or Tom Ford, because they're just beautiful, sleek, practical packaging which looks good and lasts a long time. I think if I was being asked what's kind of the cutest packaging, maybe for an individual blush, I would say either this Too Faced one, which I'm going to talk about later on, but also I had to sneak in this one, which is one of my favourites, but didn't really fit into any of the other tags, and it's the Shimura Choupette cream blush, which I think was the tail end of last year or earlier this year. It's just a basic, really pretty pink cream. It is actually a nice product. I do use it quite a lot because it's very easy to use. Just a nice, almost powdery cream, and it's quite a vivid but very blendable cream. But although it's not a super expensive type packaging, I just really love the cute little choupette. So I had to get that in. That went in the packaging. Best colour. And no question really for me there. It's not my all-time favourite blush, but it's getting there, and it won't surprise you because I've talked about it endlessly this year. It's the Tom Ford cream in Pink Sand, which came out in the summer. I'm trying to keep the plastic on. I think there are very few people who this wouldn't suit. Beautiful mid-toned cream, bright pink, very blendable, but with, you know, the little gold shimmer that just looks glossy rather than gritty or glittery. It's, I think, the most beautiful colour. Whenever I wear it, I get compliments about how healthy I'm looking. So hands down, best colour. But if you wanted to talk about a powder blush as a best colour, which again I think would suit a lot of people except those with the darker complexions, I think Chanel's Espiegel, which I'm pretty sure is still in their permanent range, well, I've had this one for a long time, again is a similar kind of mid-toned, slightly, it's coming a bit more light pink, that's actually quite a corally pink. Very pretty, just gives, not showing up too well there, a pretty flush. So I would say that's a best kind of all-round colour. Most pigmented, my most pigmented ever, I would say, were various Tom Fords I've had. I think I've bought 2 or 3 powders over the years, and I've got rid of them because they're just too pigmented for me to use comfortably. At the moment, the most pigmented that I've got in my collection, and I think I'll probably be getting rid of this, you know, I bought it because it was so cute, the packaging and the kind of engraving, but it's a really pigmented, slightly patchy colour, and I have to work it so hard to look good on me. So that's the Too Faced Love Flush in Your Love is King. It's the most pigmented I've got at the moment in my collection. It's probably going to go. Then number 4 was Everyday Blush. And I suppose I found that quite hard to answer because I don't have one everyday blush. I tend to have, kind of current favourites that I wear every day for about a month or so, or every other day, and then I move on to something else. So the 2 that kind of fall in that category at the moment are Golden Sun and Alexan, which I've showed very recently. Is that Alexan? Yeah. 2 Chanel current ones. Just really beautiful autumn colours, and Golden Sun, which I got even more recently, and I've been wearing solidly, going with this True Blanc nail polish for the last week or so, with my autumn looks. Really like both of those. So at the moment, they're my everyday blushes. Party blush, I do have a slightly odd one that I tend to wear for parties, and it's Stardust by Chanel. I think about 2 years ago at Christmas. It would be too light for a lot of people. It's a very, very pale pink, but I kind of like that in the evenings for a party look because, to be brutally frank, if I'm going to a party, I'm going to drink and I tend to then flush quite naturally. So what I like about this is it just gives me a little bit of colour, but this really pretty, slightly glittery, I have to say, shimmer, which is just like fairy dust for me. So it makes me feel in the party mood. So that's definitely my party blush. Any regrets? Yeah, I guess I haven't got them still, so they can't feature here, but I guess the Tom Fords that I spent a fortune on, Narcissist, I can think of, was a beautiful limited edition fuchsia pink that looked fantastic on the models. I remember I bought it with an eye palette that I've still got called Emerald Lust a few years ago, that I, again, only really wear for parties because it's such pigmented colour, and I still wear the eye colours. But the Narcissist blush, it was just too pigmented for me, so it had to go. That was a kind of regret, both because it looked beautiful in the package and in the advertising material, but not on me. Less used, well, I forget about things in the drawer, but basically I tend to get rid of things if I'm not using them because I don't like them. Where I tend to forget about things particularly is where they're in a multi-palette like this Guerlain, which is an eye palette, but also has some blush in it. And I really like these blushes, but I forget I have them most of the time unless I take out the eye palette or travel with it. So I'm going to put those as my less used, not because they're not good, but because I forget about them. Most used, I'm going to go with what I call my all-time favourite, because over a long period of time I've gone back and back to this one, which is Plum Attraction from Chanel, a very cool toned plum. I've talked about this recently because it's starting to lose its pigmentation because it's so old, but when it becomes totally unusable, I think I definitely will replace this because it is my most used over the long term. Favourite brand? I think it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Just from the number of those little black palettes with the white CCs. Chanel is my favourite blush brand. This year's discovery, I haven't really discovered a new brand that I love. I guess it would be the Tom Ford Pink Sand in terms of the kind of new product from the line that I've used a lot. Most handy, I do like these Becca Beach Tint Soufflés. I've got a couple of them. I just picked this one out. The packaging is very practical. It's a little bit heavy, but it goes well in your bag, very solid. And they're very easy to apply. Basically cream blushes with kind of highlighter glimmer mixed in. and so it's kind of one-stop product, and they're very easy to use on the go. Just give you a really pretty, slightly shiny flush, which I like, and they've got a good colour range, so I think they're the most handy. Although I would also say that my Chanel cream blush stick, which I have in my bag to kind of touch up during the day, that's very handy as well. Just like really the NARS sticks were as well. Least handy, well, it's anything where the packaging is a mess. And this Too Faced, much as it's cute packaging, is difficult to get into without, well, it's going to open very easily there, but sometimes I get my fingernail caught in it and caught in the blush. Most expensive, Tom Ford, no question. The Chanel ones are expensive, but the Tom Ford blushes are extortionate, but a lot of product and very good quality if you like the high pigmentation. Least expensive, I don't really have an unexpensive blush here. I'm not a fan of drugstore blushes. I have had the bourgeois ones in the past, and I guess of drugstore blushes, I would say they were the best. But I think blush is something that it's worth spending on, so that you get something that has a nice consistency, decent pigmentation, easy to apply, and lasts. So even if you aren't a maniac collector like me and just have one or two blushes, it's worth having really decent ones that are going to last you and that you enjoy using. So sorry, no inexpensive ones in my tag. So there they are, my choices. Please feel free to do the tag yourselves. I'd love to see what other people's answers would be. Until next time, bye.